What's up, everybody? It's your boy Swole Beast. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Oh, yeah. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe to Swole Beast, Blessed Beast, Merc Beast, Emperor Swole Beast. Drop a comment, leave some positive feedback. Make sure to share out our stream, watch our live streams. All right, let's get into it. Let's give a shout out to Gatorade. Make sure to stay hydrated. We have Tom Clancy here. A Jack Ryan novel, Chain of Command by Marc Cameron. We are on chapter 56, page 368. So we'll see who will be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, top 5 gang. Alright, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin. Harper woke up to the sound of rustling felt in a bitter gust of wind through the open door of the yurt. Murmuring voices and the sound of clanging pans carried through the darkness. He panicked when he realized Naomi was not beside him, Harper, but relaxed a notch when he saw a familiar silhouette by the glow of the fire pit. It was early and cold. He could see his breath curling through the shadows. Waki Tajikistan shepherds rose before dawn, the women tending their fires while men saw to their flocks, checking them to make certain no wolves had taken any during the night. Lale must have been out during her share of the early milking, and she had brought Farhad, the village headman, in with her. Shambe's mother bustled around the fire, working with Naomi Harper to prepare the breakfast of bread and salted milk tea that they ate every day. She welcomed her visitor and invited him to share the simple meal. Lale spoke rapidly in her native tongue, urging the headman forward. He heard news, she said to Harper in Russian. Harper groaned to his feet and put a hand over his heart. Salam alaikum, he said. It means peace be upon you in Arabic. I saw it in a movie called The Covenant. You should check it out. It's pretty good. Chain of Command, page 369. Where is everyone? Farhad returned the greeting, then added good morning in English. Harper rubbed a hand over his face, pushing the cobwebs out of his brain. Blessedly, Naomi Harper brought each of them a bowl of surchoy. Harper rolled his sleeping mats out of the way and motioned for Farhad to take a seat. Lale says you have news. The Chinese colonel, the village headman whispered, looking over his shoulder and then leaning in. I hear him talk on the phone. Harper shot a glance at Lale. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Make sure to drop a like. Who stood by watching. Orange light from the dung fire danced on her face. Smoke hung around her, suspended on the chilly air. Farhad gave an excited nod. Yes, English. Colonel, very angry. Say he cannot. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Make sure to drop a like. Return China. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Make sure to drop a like. He waited for Chopper to pick him up from Pakistan. Not happy about it. Very angry to wait. He say he want to go now. Gone by now. He stopped talking when his captain come in. I think captain not know about Pakistan. Pakistan? Harper took a deep breath, willing his heart to slow down. Made no sense, but then none of this did. Getting a message out was suddenly all important if the colonel never had any intention of taking them back to China. As near as Harper could tell. Appreciate that like. Whoever that was, make sure to drop a comment. We'll give you a shout out. The soldier who had his watch was named Wen, but Harper thought of him as Iron Elbow. There seemed little to distinguish him from his fellow soldiers. Harper lowered his voice. I need to retrieve my watch, he said in Russian for Lale's benefit and then in English for Farhad. All the back and forth gave him a killer headache. Lale surprised him when she knew exactly who he was talking about. Soldier Wen, he is bad man. She said. Most of them are only boys, young, doing their jobs. Wen and his, Marc Cameron's the author, page 370, friend, Fang, are nasty. They talk nasty to girls. Spy on us when we washed this morning. Harper shot a glance at Naomi Harper, an idea forming in his mind. It was dangerous, but no more dangerous than sitting around waiting for bad things to unfold. Have you gone behind the rock yet? He asked Naomi Harper. It was their euphemism for taking a pee break. The men of the village knew to steer clear of that particular boulder, leaving it for women only. I did, she said, before you woke up. What if I asked you to make another trip? She squinted at him through the hazy firelight. What are you talking about? Instead of explaining in detail, he had Lele ask Shambe's mother if she had a large knife. She retrieved a stout boning knife from a leather roll beneath her cooking pots and demonstrated its keen edge by shaving the back of her arm. Wicked sharp, it had a thick spine and an 8-inch curved blade. Harper tested its heft and then put a hand on Naomi Harper's shoulder. Wait 5 minutes and then go to the rock. Be obvious enough that he sees you, but do not do anything out of the ordinary. What? What is your plan here? Harper touched her on the cheek. What could we do if we were not afraid? Young Shambe perked up at the chatter going on around him, then crawled out of his quilts to a spot along the back wall. He removed a wooden pin from the scissor-like frame, allowing him to lift 2 of the pieces free. On hands and knees, he poked his head out through a seam in the heavy felt matting that formed the skin of the dwelling. Satisfied, the coast was, chain of command, page 371, clear, he ducked back inside and motioned toward the makeshift exit. Lale gave an excited nod. He say you go this way, out of sight. Harper kissed his wife, keeping the blade up and down beside his leg. Give me 5 minutes. Monte. He kissed her again, once on the forehead, once on the lips. What could we do? He said again, and then ducked out Shambe's secret exit into the morning chill. Harper was met with the sound of phlegmy coughing, rebelling lungs of the soldiers not accustomed to living on the roof of the world, and the people who lived here breathing the soot of dung fires day in and day out. Sheep bleated to his right and his left. Hundreds of hooves clicked and snapped against clattering stone. 2 women chatted while they milked their animals, the vibrant hiss of liquid hitting the sides of metal containers carrying through the frosty dawn. It was still incredibly dark. The 9 yurts of Vadboy, Tajikistan. Red Bull Princess, just stopping by. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. Appreciate that, Red Bull Princesses. Everybody make sure to subscribe to Red Bull Princesses. That's very kind of you. Hope you have a wonderful day as well. We're spaced with 15 to 20 yards between each one. Close enough that any of the soldiers could have easily seen Harper had they stepped around back to check. But all the dwellings faced the animal pens, and from the look of them, had only one way, in and out. Harper held his breath. Every move he made seemed to produce a deafening noise. His own heartbeat was surely audible at the other end of the camp. He squatted outside the yurt, curved blade in hand, and slowed his breathing. The women's, what's up, bro? What up, Ari? H, make sure to drop a like. How we doing? How's your afternoon going? Marc Cameron's the author, page 372. Rock was visible through the gathering dawn, a black shadow roughly the size of a minivan. The mountains loomed larger around the valley, an impenetrable fortress of rock and ice. Harper padded quickly across the open ground, instinctively crouching as he moved. It's night here in India. Shout out to India. That's rad. Where were we? I got distracted. That's so cool. I've never been to India. That's awesome. Harper padded quickly across the open ground, instinctively crouching as he moved, though it would have done little good. Where are you from? California, United States. There was nothing but barren rock between the yurts and his destination. There was only one vantage point from which to spy on the women, the remnants of a stone sheep pen. Little more than a pile of stone now. Ooh. Have you ever been to California, Ari? H? How do you like living in India? A crowd that had fallen in on itself to become a Quran. Harper knelt there, taking care not to cut off the circulation in his legs. Why you have less view right now? What do you mean? It comes and goes, you know. Sometimes we have hundreds of people in here, other times we have less. It's all good. It fluctuates. That's normal. I'm not ISO speed, you know. He's really consistent. No, I have never been to California. Oh, you should check out California sometime. It's pretty awesome. He had to be able to move instantly when the time came. Funny the things one thought about when waiting to murder a man. He had only just gotten relatively settled when he heard Naomi Harper's distinctive cough. Clattering rocks, sniffing, a shuddering sigh as she walked between Harper's hiding place and the latrine rock. Then the sound of more rocks near the yurt. Someone was following her, as expected. Harper's pulse whooshed in his ears, making it almost impossible to hear. It had to be Wen. If it was not, this was pointless. His grip tightened on the knife, and he had to make a conscious effort not to squeeze so hard he cramped his arm. He was far too old for this. Hell, anyone would be too old for what he had in mind, no matter their age. Too late to turn back, he watched Wen's silhouette saunter into view, a scant 30 feet behind Naomi Harper. When you had a gun and a bunch of friends with guns, there was little need to hide, just to leer at an unarmed woman while she took her morning pee. I have to sell my house for affording flight tickets for California. Oh, wow. Are you gonna... That's a kind of a risk. Are you gonna do that? Are you gonna sell your house so you can come to California? Sorry to hear that. Maybe rent out your house so then you could still come to California and keep your asset. Chain of Command, page 373. Naomi Harper shrugged off her jacket, making a show of pulling the tail of her shirt out of her waistband, completely entrancing the soldier. Harper crept forward slowly at first, knife pointed forward, expecting Wen to turn at any moment, intent on charging forward if he did. The human body was a marvelous but fragile thing, a hairless ape with thin skin, no claws, and blunt canines. The eyes and smallish ears faced forward, focused on hunting rather than protecting oneself from another hunter. Monte Harper was a physician with decades of study in anatomy and physiology. He had gone elbow deep in cadavers and living patients during medical school and internship, working long hours in trauma wards, surgery, and intensive care. He was intimately familiar with every system of the body and what it took to disrupt them. If his extensive medical training had taught him anything, it was that killing a human being was a relatively straightforward, if not easy, process. Simply speaking, you had to deprive the brain of oxygen. When boiled all down to the bones, as it were, there was really the only thing that caused death. No, bro, I was just saying that traveling to California requires a huge amount of money. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe start saving up for it. There you go, you know? But yeah, you're right. Traveling is expensive, that's for sure. Choking, no exhaustion to the brain. Bleeding to death, no blood to carry oxygen to the brain. Heart attack, cancer shut down the organs. Decapitation, same. Harper needed it to happen quickly and quietly. Kidneys made the perfect target. No ribs to contend with, two to choose from, and each was entangled in a vast network of veins and nerves. A wound to a kidney would not only start the bleeding processes, but would inflict immediate, overwhelming pain, in theory at least, robbing Wen of his powerful iron elbow. It would not be quick, but it was a start. Value of a dollar in Indian currency is very high. Oh, really? It's different than American currency. Naomi Harper coughed again, fumbling with the snap on her pants. Marc Cameron is the author, page 374. Wen leaned sideways, shuffling his feet as he watched, tensing suddenly as if he had heard something. Harper hit him before he turned, driving the 8-inch blade into the soft flesh of the man's loins, while at the same time snaking an arm around to cover his mouth and keeping him from crying out. Unaccustomed to such gruesome work, Harper let his fingers stray into the soldier's mouth. Wen clamped down hard, Harper's wedding ring blocking the worst of the bite. It did not matter. Are you reading something like a noble? Yeah, trying to. That's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to specialize in book reading and kind of becoming more popular by the day. He was too involved in the task at hand to feel anything but rage. Seething, Harper withdrew the blade from Wen's back and, hand still clasping the thrashing man's face, plunged it into the side of his neck. What your main content? Reading. Reading is my main content right now. It's like for the podcast. I used to do a little bit of drinking and smoking and working out and vlogging, but right now I'm focused on reading books. It's been really fun. He had watched the village headman dispatch a sheep for a feast when they had arrived, using a similar blade to cut off its head. He copied the maneuver. An arc of blood sprayed the air in front of the two men. What you do for a living? You're looking at it. I run a podcast. How about yourself? What do you do for a living? Eyes flying wide in the darkness, Wen relaxed his grip on Harper's finger and slid it to the ground. Naomi Harper rushed to help, her boots clattering as she tiptoed quickly across the rocky ground. There was some agonal breathing, twitching legs, gruesome things Harper had blocked from his mind about violent deaths he had witnessed in the emergency room. He attempted to shield his wife from the obscene sight of the dying man, but she shrugged him aside. We are past that, she whispered. We have to get him behind those stones before someone sees us. Harper stooped to remove his watch, wiping it free of blood, before returning it to his own wrist, hidden under the sleeve of his down jacket. Currently, I am a student. Where do you go to school? That's so cool. What are you studying? REH. Footfalls to their right caused them both to freeze. Chain of command, page 375. It was Farhad, leading a horse. One of the soldier horses, he said. They kept him hobbled because he always tried to run away. The horse stomped a foot, blowing hard, nickering nervously at the smell of blood. But for the howl of wolves, animal sounds hardly raised an eyebrow in camp. Naomi Harper held the trembling animal, while Harper and Farhad hefted Wen's body onto the horse. No, I have passed my school life now. I am in college doing Polytechnic. Oh, that's cool. Do you like studying Polytechnic? The Waki Tajikistan headman was accustomed to trying loads on pack animals and made short work of lashing the dead soldier across the horse's back with the thick yak's hair rope. What about his rifle? Naomi Harper said. Harper shook his head. It has to go too. If they find it here, they will know he did not run away. If they are searching us for guns, it will be too late to worry about that, she said. Touché, he admitted, taking badly now from the killing. We will stash it in the yurt with us. Yeah, I like doing Polytechnic. That's awesome. What exactly is Polytechnic? I like my work. What exactly are you studying in Polytechnic Technology, REH? Curious. Farhad started to lead the horse to the south. It will run downhill once we are out of the village. The soldiers might hear and try to chase, so I will take it far. I should go before it gets light enough for them to see. Harper put a trembling hand on Farhad's shoulder. Thank you, he said. Thank you, breaker of rocks. The watch. Naomi Harper said. Right, Harper said, feeling foolish for waiting this long. He unscrewed the small cap at the base of the face like a second crown. Then, making sure he had a clear view of the sky, he pulled the cap away, extending a thin antenna wire that, until now, had been coiled inside the watch. All right, we're on chapter 57, page 376. But before we continue, let's give a shout out to Gatorade. Hope you're all having a wonderful afternoon. Make sure to drop a like. Make sure to stay hydrated. Do a little time check. All right. Chapter 57, page 376. Oh, my bad. What you say? It's a kind of engineering which focuses on practical knowledge more than theoretical knowledge that I am doing Polytechnic in mechanical engineering. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. So you kind of specialize in mechanical engineering. What do you want to do in mechanical engineering exactly? Do you have a game plan? I'm curious. Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Kelsey Callahan spied Dominic Caruso when he badged his way through the door across the cavernous convention center ballroom and cursed a happy curse under her breath. It would be good to see the bastard, but the fact that he was even here meant things were about to get weirder than they already were. Her previous work with the ruggedly mysterious quoter of Italian proverbs and keeper of secrets had been pleasant, in a torturous sort of way that made her want to at once pull her hair out and hug the guy. It should not have come as a surprise that he had parachuted in to save the day. Considering the circumstances, Texas was about to get an enema of counterintelligence squad weenies from Federal Bureau of Investigation headquarters. Yeah, my focus is mainly on designing cars and other machinery. Well, that's cool. What cars do you plan on designing? Like sedans, SUVs, trucks? That's pretty neat. She had not been on the ground long, just a couple hours, long enough to get her stuff stowed, get an initial briefing, and catch a short glimpse of the carnage along the river rock, just over a football field away. Dominic Caruso had sure gotten here fast if he came from D.C., only adding to his mystique. So far, he had not seen her, and Callahan moved behind a pocket of milling agents. It was fairly simple to blend in with all the other blue windbreakers, and she had hoped to keep it that way until she got a better handle on the situation. She could not do anything about her red hair. The leader of the multi-agency Dallas, Texas area Crimes Against Chain of Command, page 377. I would love to design any type of automobile. Okay, that's cool. Any automobile. So you could design sedans, SUVs, trucks, the works. Wow, that's a pretty amazing talent. Children Task Force found herself on a southwestern jet out of Love Field less than 2 hours after the first hint of trouble along the Riverwalk. She had been on the treadmill when the special agent in charge called her personally. A call from the old man was like a lightning bolt from Zeus, rarely a good thing, but as soon as he told her about the First Lady, she had forgotten any trepidation, grabbing the go bag under her desk and jumped on the first flight to San Antonio, Texas. She had pulled a pair of jeans over her running shorts, but settled for the merino wool hooded t-shirt she had been running in, giving her the look like she had just left the boxing gym. Her red hair was still pulled back in a thick ponytail. She arrived in San Antonio, Texas with the first wave of agents, greeted by ashen-faced rental car personnel who welcomed them like a liberating army. She arrived in San Antonio, Texas with the first wave... Wait, I already said that. If the Federal Bureau of Investigation was good at anything, and they were very good at a lot of things, they excelled at springing up advertisement Hawkman emergency operations centers before the dust settled from after a violent incident. You said? Yeah, but keep this in mind right now. I'm studying, I am accruing knowledge after accruing knowledge. I will implement the knowledge in the machinery industry. That's pretty neat. So you're going to have like specific innovations to go into the automobile industry. That's pretty great. Gonna change the world, my friend. Quarterly case file inspections ensured that the entire Federal Bureau of Investigation was organized and scrutinized down to the cellular individual agent level. Every office had at least one crisis response agent and volume upon volume of crisis response plans digitized, but also in print in the event of an electromagnetic pulse attack or any number of scenarios that might render computers useless lumps of plastic and glass. Yeah, that's why engineering is quite interesting. Absolutely, it's a growing field too. You're onto something there. Though there was no specific scenario titled First Lady Kidnapping, there were enough similar scenarios to set up the scaffolding for an investigation. Drills, joint training scenarios complete with role players, and active multi-agency emergency operations centers. Multi-headed demon dog bureaucracy that they were, when the Federal Bureau of Investigation needed to jump, they could jump fast. Marc Cameron's the author, page 378. Surviving Secret. Appreciate that like, whoever that was. Make sure to drop a comment so we can give you a shout out. Surviving Secret Service personnel had notified their command post of the attack on FLOTUS, First Lady of the United States, in real time. They had, of course, been Federal Bureau of Investigation special agents on the ground with state and local LEOs. Do you watch cricket? The sport? I haven't watched it. I've heard of it. I haven't been watching it personally. Do you like the sport cricket? That's pretty neat. It's a cool sport. Have you ever been to India? No, I have not. I have not been to India. That would be amazing to go there. Working the crowd, gleaning intelligence on protesters, possible terrorist actors, but generally staying out of the Secret Service's way. The death toll of state and local officers was at 16 at the moment and ticking upward at an alarming rate. Conflicting reports put Secret Service casualties at 23 or 26. Yeah, I really like watching cricket. It is a gentleman game. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to take a look at it. I haven't been watching cricket, but I love sports. Along with the SAIC, 2 Federal Bureau of Investigation counterintelligence agents were confirmed dead, another suffering from a concussion when the stampeding crowd knocked her into a concrete planter. She had been the first to alert the command center to the attack. Calls poured in after that from other agents, Bexar County 911, and concerned citizens. San Antonio, Texas. I want you to guess my age. Okay. Are you 28? Command Center ran the information of the flagpole to the Federal Bureau of Investigation headquarters in D.C. The Strategic Information and Operations Center, SIOC, made it possible for the Federal Bureau of Investigation to take global command after an attack against the United States interests. With 40,000 square feet of workspace and over 60 miles of fiber optic cable, the SIOC allowed the Federal Bureau of Investigation to keep a common operating picture, the COP, on deployed Federal Bureau of Investigation national assets and disperse intelligence information enterprise-wide, including to regional joint terrorism task forces. It's too much. Oh, so you're younger than 28. Okay, are you 22? The SIOC watch commander pushed the information to the Critical Incident and Operations Unit, which coordinated the activation of operational and support personnel from headquarters in the Federal Bureau of Investigation field offices nearest to San Antonio, Texas. Lower. Oh, you're young? Okay. Are you 20? Within 3 hours, an army of special agents, analysts, intelligence technicians, and administrative staff descended on the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center, setting up shop in the Stars at Night Ballroom. Look, I am 18. Oh, you're young, man. I remember being 18. Wasn't as wise as I am now. How do you enjoy you enjoy your youth, or are you looking forward to being older? Chain of Command, page 379. At 54,000 square feet, the ballroom was larger than the 63 people on site needed at the moment. But the First Lady was missing, so their ranks would grow exponentially as the minutes ticked by. The natural inclination was to throw everything and everyone out an incident like this, but there will still be plenty of bad actors out there champing at the bit to capitalize on the misery of the moment. The way you are expressing your words while reading is incredible and fantastic. Thank you so much. I've been told this is kind of like a gift of mine to read, and I enjoy doing it. It's really fun. If every squad leader and uniformed officer in Texas followed their instincts and rushed to the Riverwalk, the voids in their own jurisdictions would be vulnerable to all manner of criminal activity. Callahan counted herself fortunate she was the one of the initial wave. Personnel from Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, El Paso, Texas, and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, were first to arrive. Intelligence technicians and TSCM, technical surveillance countermeasures specialists, went to work immediately identifying weaknesses in the advertising Hockerman command center itself, like speakers that could be turned into listening devices on the other end of the line by a simple reverse in wiring, sweeping for listening devices, and setting up a false wall of plastic sheeting to create a room within the room. While the president's wife missing, there were certain to be discussions at the highest levels, necessitating a sensitive compartmented information facility, or SCIF, in the middle of a hotel ballroom. See, I am from India. My English is not so good, so I request you to read slowly so that I can understand what you are actually reading. Okay. The Federal Bureau of Investigation had roughly 35,000 employees, so it was easy to get lost. But major assignments tended to be like Old Home Week, despite the horrendous circumstances. Callahan had run into half a dozen agents she had not seen in years shortly after arriving. To her chagrin, the Texas Rangers also had a presence. Ranger Lyle Anderson, her raw-boned ex-husband, was there, up front with the bosses who were about. Marc Cameron's the author, page 380. Hearts. Is that better? Okay, I can read slow. I appreciate the feedback. So there's Marc Cameron's the author, page 380. We said yes. To give a briefing to the buzzing crowd, which in the last few minutes had jumped from fewer than 70 to almost 200 state, local, and federal LEOs. The San Antonio, Texas fire chief stood alongside SAIC Crowley, but all his employees were already hard at work at the river. Your pronunciation is very weird. Can you teach me, please? Sure, I'm kind of I would say a specialist at the English language. It's definitely my strong point, but I can help you pronounce out longer words. So it'd be like uniformed officers, mostly from neighboring counties, since Bexar County had their hands full, staffed the doors facing outbound. No one knew who had mounted the attack, and force protection was on everyone's mind. Tough to focus on investigating a crime if you were constantly worried about getting shot or blown to pieces. Initial jump teams of ATF, which is Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, explosive and crime scene experts were already boots on the ground by the river along with an army of fire and medical personnel. But to find the First Lady, they needed to cast the widest net possible. Walt Crowley, the special agent in charge of the Houston, Texas field office, tapped on his microphone to get the briefing underway. Your words are clear. That is why it becomes easy to understand what you are reading. Oh, thank you so much. Try my best. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Crowley welcomed everyone with a grave voice befitting the occasion and promised to keep it brief so they could all get moving. He began with what they knew, which was little except for the initial casualty count: 61 confirmed dead, 74 seriously wounded, and an unconfirmed number of missing, including the First Lady. I am enjoying it a lot, honestly. I really appreciate that. That's amazing to hear. I've been practicing, so I think it's going well. Listening, Callahan leaned against a long table, glancing around the crowd and wondering who would be assigned to her team. When she turned back, Dominic Caruso stood beside her. Time was of the essence, so SAIC Crowley finished the briefing in record time. Slightly out of breath when he was finished, as one would expect him to be with Kathy Ryan's life in the balance, he directed all the state and local officers to Bill. Practice makes a man perfect. 100%. You got the flex emoji too. Ah, I used to be known for that too. I haven't been doing that as content, but I still work out like about 6 days a week or so. Chain of command, page 381. Jordan, the United States Marshal for the Western District of Texas, who would swear them all in as special deputies for the duration of the Advertisement Hakum task force, allowing them to follow federal guidelines and legal precedent along with their federal counterparts. There was surely a large murder board somewhere, though no one called it that back at the SIOC. But coordinating the endeavors of hundreds of investigators required something more sophisticated. Everyone present had provided a cell number when they had assigned in. Texts were going out to designated squad leaders in the next 5 minutes, followed by team assignment shortly after. What's your good name? I go by Swole Beast on YouTube, but you can call me Austin if you'd like. Squad leaders would be given links to their specific assignments. Waiting like everyone else, Dominic Caruso extended a hand. Callahan took it, pulling him in for a backslapping brotherhood hug. He was surprised that she was this glad to see him. He stepped back, keeping her hand long enough to show genuine affection. Austin, good name. Thank you, I get that a lot. I have to thank my parents for naming me that, right? But not long enough to be weird, and then hooked a thumb toward the stocky Hispanic man beside him. Austin, you are always welcome to India. Appreciate that, REH. Yeah, perhaps sometime if I come to India, you could show me around. That'd be cool. Drop a little stream and be like, yo, this is REH from India. I'm here in India. That'd be like I Show Speed. I always wanted to do that for content. Travel around and make some streams. That'd be pretty cool. Gotta be big, though. Gotta go huge, like I Show Speed. Shout out to I Show Speed. Special Agent Kelsey Callahan, he said, I'd like you to meet my colleagues from Maine Justice. He is. She stepped forward and shook the man's hand, cutting off Dominic Caruso middle of the sentence. Let me guess, John Doe or Smith or Jones. My name is Arif. Nice to meet you, Arif. My name is Swole Beast. It's a pleasure. The man smiled, clasping her hand firmly, looking her directly in the eye as he shook it. Domingo Chavez, he said. My friends call me Ding. Ah, Callahan said. You work with Dominic Caruso's last spooky friend, John. What was his name? I know him well, Domingo Chavez said, but did not clarify. Puts you in good company, Callahan said. I am reasonably... Marc Cameron is the author, page 382. Certain your buddy John... Swole Beast, a very unique name for a YouTube channel. It was my water polo nickname. It just kind of stuck. I was called Skyscraper and Swole Beast. And Swole Beast just kind of stuck into my college years. So I thought, I'll name my channel Swole Beast. We go by the Swole Beast tribe. Was responsible for some extra legal interrogations and a couple of murders. Wouldn't know about that, Domingo Chavez said. See, Dominic Caruso said, I told you she wasn't the type to hold things back. It sounds very aesthetic. Yeah, thanks. I like the nickname too. Makes me, it's a good confidence booster, you know? It sounds very cool. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great nickname. Callahan folded her arms across her chest. Look, Dominic Caruso, it's great to see you again, but I'm not sure it is a good idea for you to get yourself assigned to my squad. Dominic Caruso's cell phone began to buzz in his hand. He scrolled through the message before turning it toward Callahan so she could read it. Now hang on just one damn minute, she said. I am assigned to you, not the other way around. Dominic Caruso gave a shrugging nod. Looks that way. Now it makes sense why my assignment came from the old man himself instead of a supervisor or the ASAC, she said. You asked for me personally, didn't you? I did, Dominic Caruso said. Look at it this way, Kelsey. The other squads are going to be doing God's work. That is certain, but our team is comprised of just the three of us. We will be nimble and more democratic in our process. Democratic? Callahan mused, unconvinced. So no one is really in charge, so to speak, Dominic Caruso said, unless you count the Director of National Intelligence, because she tells me to jump, I jump. Chapter 58, page 383. We'll get a little breather here. But yeah, Beast makes you feel confident, so before reading any noble, do you feel like you are a beast?
I am Swole Beast.
Absolutely, I do believe I am a beast. Shout out to Gatorade, I meant to say. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon. Make sure to drop a like. Alright, let's keep going. A little time check. Perfect. Chapter 58, page 383. If Callahan was butthurt, she got over it quickly and ran Dominic Caruso and Domingo Chavez through what she had learned so far. Austin, I told you it's midnight, India. Oh, yeah. Good morning to everyone in India. Hope you have a wonderful morning. Make sure to drop a like. With 2 hours longer, and a shout out to India. With 2 hours longer at the scene of the attack, she was the resident expert of their team. Yeah. Dominic Caruso found himself doubly glad to have her on the team. She was honest and capable and had just enough egotistical. I already dropped a like. Hey, appreciate that, REH. Now, when other people join the stream, you got to get them to drop a like. Good luck. To march into gunfire, but not so much that she always has to do it alone or even in the lead. Well, in that case, REH, since you already dropped a like, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll subscribe back. Do you play Soul games? Souls games? No. What is that? I'm curious what that is. Initial review of the scant security footage we have gathered corroborates witness statements that the first explosives were dropped from small drones, 3 of which have been recovered in various stages of being trampled by fleeing bystanders and victims. They're on the way to the lab now, but a preliminary examination indicates the aircraft were set to home on specific global positioning systems coordinates, making anti-drone guns that scramble radio communication ineffective, Domingo Chavez noted. Correct, Callahan said. Disrupt the RF signal controlling the drone and it simply returns home, or to a program location it thinks is home. The technician exists to disrupt global positioning system, GPS systems, but it could unintentionally affect other devices. It's Arif. Austin, please spell my name correctly. Of course. My apologies. Arif. Sophisticated drones like our military UAVs are shielded. Marc Cameron, page 384. And these, Dominic Caruso asked. Callahan shook her head. Nope. The ones we found were off-the-shelf DJIs.
with a small balsa wood platform added for the grenade. They simply flew to the program spot, dropped their payload, and stayed until they ran out of juice. Domingo Chavez pursed his lips, thinking, then said, "I'm extremely surprised the service did not see these things earlier. They had counter snipers, didn't they?" "They did indeed," Callahan said, giving a mournful shake of her head. "Do you play PC games like Elder Ring, Sekiro, Hollow Knight? Have you ever heard about these games?" "I have not. No. How about yourself? You play those games? You like PC games, Arif?" Uniform Division had two sets. She pointed to the map indicating the rooftops of two adjacent hotels overlooking the area where the First Lady had been supposed to attend the dedication. The initial text warning of a possible gas leak was followed by a display of Roman candles, drawing their attention away long enough for shooters to get into position and take them all out. "Yeah, I play those games." "That's awesome. Which one's your favorite?" Much of the Riverwalk might as well be in the bottom of a Dixie cup as far as visibility from air assets goes. Angles from buildings along the route block the view unless the aircraft hovers directly overhead. One of the drones flew straight down to the river to its home coordinates, deploying a screen of smoke about 100 feet above the crowd. "Sekiro is my favorite." "What is Sekiro about?" "But the last explosion," Domingo Chavez said, "that one appears to have been much bigger." "It was Callahan." "It was," Callahan said, "a hell of a lot bigger." "A larger drone?" Dominic Crusoe asked. "We don't think so." Callahan referred them to the map again. Secret Service explosive detection dogs cleared the area around the event site from the convention center to about 100 yards west of Rosita's Bridge, all the way to the south. Chain of Command, page 385. Presa Street Overpass. The area here between the Presa and Navarro Street bridges where the larger blast occurred was outside the sweep zone. It's hard for me to explain what the game is all about. Sorry, Austin. Zero worries, no worries, Arif. It looks like a conventional bomb was placed there earlier. ATF. Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is still collecting evidence to discern type of explosive, but it was big enough to kill or maim everyone on the South Walk and cause some substantial injuries on the north side of the river. Dominic Crusoe ran the tip of his index finger along the map, so they dropped grenade after grenade on the crowd, driving the First Lady and protective detail west. Like lambs to the slaughter, Callahan said. The attackers did not have to bother with getting past the secure perimeter. They just waited for their targets to come to them. Search teams are finding a shitload of 5.7 by 28 brass. FNs, Domingo Chavez mused, shaking his head. "Yep," Callahan said, and with no regard for who they hit, the attackers appeared to have just shot everyone who wasn't Kathy Ryan. She pulled up new video of men in white shirts emerging from the water after the blast. One of them led an injured female with dark hair toward the steps leading up to Navarro Street. They passed a responding sheriff's deputy who pointed the way to street level before rushing off to look for survivors. "I have subscribed to your channel and pressed the bell icon. You are a great reader and a great person." Thank you, Arif. I really appreciate that. Make sure to drop a comment after the live stream ends. I'll pin that comment so you can get exposure for your channel. "That's her," Dominic Crusoe whispered. They took her into the water to protect her from the blast, covered her blonde hair with a wig, and just led her right past everyone responding to the explosions. "It's mathematical in its brilliance," Domingo Chavez said. "No kidding," Callahan said. "It appears they walked her up to a waiting ambulance on Navarro, which transported her, and Marc Cameron is the author." "Okay, I try my best." "Okay, sounds great. Yeah, try your best to do that. Otherwise, you could also share out the streams or just watching the live streams. We really appreciate that. And we'll give you a shout out. Like, we could be like, REH, shout out to REH. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. One of those kind of shout outs. Marc Cameron's the author, page 386. The attack team Out with lights and sirens, Bexar County deputies found the ambulance abandoned off the 410 loop south of Lakeland Air Force Base, Texas. Dominic Crusoe side wiped clean of prints and DNA, I am sure. On fire, Callahan said. Any identifications from facial recognition yet? Domingo Chavez asked, watching the footage of the men emerging from the water again. Not these from the river, Callahan said, but one of the bad guys appears to be among the dead. He took a round to the jaw from Secret Service, judging from the video. No identification or documents on the body, but we used what was left on his face to get a preliminary identification. She paused a beat as if for effect. Fits the scenario. Luc Dufour, former French National Police Recherche Assistance Intervention Dissuasion Unit. A raid operator, Dominic Caruso said. You're right, that does fit. Those guys burn through practice ammunition like the rest of us breathe air. And he had plenty of expertise in VIP protection, Domingo Chavez said. His phone buzzed and he stepped away to take the call. Who's the president of USA? Donald Trump. Or in the book. In the book is Jack Ryan. Our friends at Langley, Virginia tell us he turned mercenary a couple of years ago, Callahan said, after raid cut him loose for conduct unbecoming, something about an underage girl. She peered at Dominic Crusoe, surprising how quickly I get answers to questions like that when the First Lady goes missing. Glad to hear, Dominic Crusoe said, since she is my aunt. Callahan took a half step backward. No shit? No shit, Dominic Crusoe said. I'm really sorry to hear that, she said. Thank you, Dominic Crusoe said. It'll be fine, but it does give me extra incentive to find her. Do love Donald Trump, be honest. Oh, yeah, definitely. I bleed red. How about yourself? Chain of command, page 387. Surprising that they are letting you work this, you think? She groaned, not really, since you are with that mysterious headquarters component. Dominic Caruso gave her a tired smile. You know how it is. Domingo Chavez slipped the phone back into his pocket and rejoined the conversation. He nodded at Dominic Caruso. We have got the go-ahead from Director Foley. The go-ahead, Callahan said, incredulous. What the hell? You are high enough up the food chain that you get calls from the Director of National Intelligence? Domingo Chavez looked around to make certain there was plenty of distance between them and the nearest knot of agents. That was our friend John, he said. He's got the Director of National Intelligence on speed dial. So let me ask you, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear Cara Mia? See, take my comment as about opinion. C for Donald Trump is not a great leader. Okay, I respect that. Then who do you like on the Democratic side? Human trafficking, Callahan said. Not trafficking, but whacking traffickers. A group of former military turned mercenaries run from somewhere in Europe, contractors who do not pay much attention to the black and white nice ties of the law. She narrowed a wary eye at Dominic Crusoe. I had your spooky friend John pegged as a Cara Mia, and you too, to be honest. Well, Domingo Chavez says, we are not. Anything besides extrajudicial killing of human traffickers. Even that is not concrete, she said. Nothing more than rumors. No actual names to attach to any file. More like a series of events that all bear the same sophisticated signature for which one claims responsibility. Military coups in East Africa, a couple assassinations in Eastern Europe, the Caribbean, things that have the look of state actors, but not the fingerprint. Marc Cameron is the author, page 388. It is the same way scientists know there is a black hole, by the effects of something they cannot see on the things around it. Cara Mia, the little room, the unofficial cabinet, they fit the bill for this in spades. My answer is based on the Epstein files, which reveal the dark truth of the Donald Trump. Fair enough, but I would say that's more alleged. He may have knew Jeffrey Epstein, but once he realized the allegations against Epstein, he distance himself from him. Allegedly. Whoever took the First Lady definitely had some serious training. It virtually had to be a group of former military who drilled this until their execution was flawless. Her nose scrunched up in thought. Even if we are right and it is them, no one knows any more than what I have told you. A faceless group runs out of a shadowy place somewhere in Europe. Oh no, I get it. Okay, for sure. But now we have the dead former raid operative. Dominic Crusoe said, we can get someone running down his past contacts, next of kin, basically crawl up the collective asses of anyone and everyone who has ever known him until we find some connection. In the meantime, there is a Bosnian Serbian cooling his jets in the Buenos Aires, Argentina hospital who may know something about the Karamia. And what makes you think that? Callahan asked. Dominic Crusoe shot her what he hoped was a we are all on the same team grin, because he got us confused with them when we chased him down on the river and he got shot, and therein lies the problem. I am not sure he is in good enough health to talk to us. I will give you everything we have, and maybe you can get the legate to drop in and check his pulse, see what he knows. Federal Bureau Investigation legats, or legal attaches, were special agents stationed in key cities around the world working closely with local law enforcement, security services, and government officials. Or, Dominic Caruso said, you could go see him yourself. Where are you going? That remains to be seen. I'm with you for now, but the guy, chain of command, page 389, who handled Bajik's security is still in the wind, Domingo Chavez said. He was not on our radar until our recent encounter, but I have photos. I will get them for you, and we can both work on trying to identify him. You do YouTube like as a part-time, or you are doing YouTube just to express your talent? I do YouTube full-time right now, actually. So I'm doing it I'm trying to do it like every day for an hour, something like that. Wait, Callahan said, you have a different facial recognition database than the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Never mind, of course you do. I said we would give you copies, Dominic Crusoe said. Whoever he is, it is a pretty good bet that this guy is the one who told his boss the Karamia might be coming for him. For all we know, they really were, and we merely beat them to it. Bajik is responsible for the rape of dozens of women when he was a young man during the war. It stands to reason that one of those women might come from a family wealthy and connected enough to hire the Karamia to go after him. Oh, that's good. I hope you achieve your goal. Thank you so much. Yeah, we have goals if you want to check out our biography. I think our goals right now are like 5,000 likes. We're almost at 5,000. 1,700 subscribers. We have a little bit of work to do there. 5,000 comments. We're on our way there. 500 shares. We're on our way there. 300,000 views. We're on our way there. So, we'll adjust our goals as we keep, gaining notoriety or whatnot. He turned and looked around the hive of activity in the conference hall, turned command post. I need to find a secure terminal. Callahan smirked. Federal Bureau of Investigation, Cybersecurity, and Technical Surveillance Countermeasures people set this whole place up. This is about as secure as it gets. Ding Chavez gave a contemplative nod. He means secure from you guys. Come on, Dominic Caruso said. We will fill you in on everything on the way. Everything? He shrugged. Most things. Callahan stopped in her tracks. Hang on a second. We are operating under the assumption that the Karamia, a group of former soldiers who hunt down human traffickers and war criminals, is at the same time responsible for murdering at least... Marc Cameron's the author, page 390. 75 people in abducting the First Lady. All for the money? Domingo Chavez looked at her and shook his head. I don't think they are doing it for the money. Why then? Domingo Chavez and Dominic Caruso spoke in unison for fun. Austin, I have some work to do. My father is calling me. I really enjoyed talking to you. You are a nice person and have a nice day, bro. All right. Tell your father I said hello. Hope you have a wonderful day. And I really appreciate those comments. We're actually at the end of the stream anyway. We're going to stop on chapter 59, page 391. Oh, good stream though. All right. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon, everybody. Or if you're in India, hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, make sure to drop a like on your way out. Make sure to subscribe to Swole Beast, Blessed Beast, Merc Beast, Emperor, Swole Beast. Bye, Austin. Bye, Arif. Good to have you here. Make sure to drop a comment, leave some positive feedback. Make sure to share out our live streams, and watch our live streams and help us hit our goals. We out. Peace. Already subscribed. Appreciate that, Arif.